As if the iPhone 6 doesn't have enough people talking about mobile, let's talk about how mobile has brought buyers and home builders together. Now, O'Neill Interactive first started encouraging builders to consider mobile internet traffic back in 2008, and in mobile marketing years, that's really not far outside of the prehistoric era. But in 2011, we actually began measuring it, and in January, the first Builder Web Stats report recorded 6.2% of total builder web traffic coming from mobile devices. While that's not a totally insignificant number, it's also not a very big number. Now, by the end of 2011, things changed a little bit, and that share more than doubled, jumping to 13.7%, and that trend line never looked back. Now, mobile device traffic looks different today than it did in 2011. Back then, we had one iPhone, we had a couple Android devices, and we still thought BlackBerries were relevant. Well, today we have multiple iPhones. There's been a couple 100 million iPads sold. There are many variations of Samsung phones, Amazon phones, as well as Google Nexus devices, and millions of tablets overall. So mobile no longer just means phones. Well, what exactly has this done to builder web traffic? In short, the desktop has been dethroned. In June of 2014, desktop users accounted for less than half, only 46% of traffic to builder websites, where mobile phone and tablet traffic accounted for about 54% of that traffic overall. So this means in 3.5 years, mobile device traffic increased from 6.2 to 53.6%. That's nearly a 900% increase in traffic. In the last 3.5 years, what other segment of your market has increased by 900%? So let's take a minute and soak in some stats and statements from a recent Google report. The immediacy of mobile helps people stay on top of the market in real time. The searches related to home buying are highest over the weekend when people are most likely out touring neighborhoods and visiting open houses. Not just for simple searches, so far this year, 1/4 of Google searches for mortgages have been on mobile devices. Terms such as mortgage calculator make up half of those searches. We're seeing stagnation in desktop and growth in mobile. Mobile queries for open houses grew 36% in June, while desktop searches remain the same. And smartphones and tablets are the tech of choice at home too. Usage climbs steadily throughout the day, seeing its peak at night with phones at 6 p.m. and tablets at 11 p.m. Now let's take a minute and try to put this growth, this tremendous growth, almost 900%, into perspective. Imagine seeing a source of your model home walk-in traffic increase by the same amount. So let's imagine you have a real estate agent that accounts for 1 out of every 20 walk-ins to your model home. And I think most of us would agree if you have an agent that's bringing about 5% of your walk-in traffic, that's a fairly good source. That's a fairly good agent. Well, over 3.5 years, this real estate agent grows his business, and now this agent accounts for 11 out of every 20 visitors to your model home. That would and should get your attention. Well, the good news is that there is no co-op attached to this real estate agent because this agent is mobile traffic. Now, you've got a couple choices. If you have a responsive website, you could just kind of sit back and say, hey, I've got everything covered. But if you really want to cement that mobile traffic, you're going to do everything you can to make it easy for a mobile user to interact with you. You can consider the full experience and smooth everything out as much as you possibly can. So you're going to start thinking beyond just your website, and you're going to think about the fact that many people are opening and reading emails on their phone, and then they're clicking through, hopefully with those call to actions inside those emails, and they're visiting your site. You're going to think about how users use maps and navigation on the phone. You're going to think about how easy it is for a user to be distracted with that little notification bar that keeps dropping down from the top every time someone texts them. And you're also going to start thinking about how easy or hard it is for someone to ask for information. They might be able to click on a phone number, but they might have trouble using that keyboard and filling out those forms. The fact is that the usage trends are absolutely positively clear. If you want to get the most out of your existing traffic, every single initiative must be optimized for the mobile shopping experience. It's that simple.